Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Burke County Board of Commissioners regular meeting for Monday, March the 16th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Thank you for being here and welcome. Madam Clerk, all commissioners are present tonight with the exception of Vice Chair Smith, who is a bit under the weather. And I would remind you to silence your mobile devices at this time. If you got telephones and other things to make a noise, please set those to vibrate so that we don't have interruptions tonight. And if you come to speak tonight, please come to the lectern, press the button on the right, be sure the red light comes on so that we can hear you and get a good YouTube recording. We're happy tonight to have Brother David Bridges with us from the First Apostolic Church of Morganton to lead in our invocation, and then we'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Scout Troop 197 from Glen Alpine with Matthew, I'll probably mess this up, Soenchen, is the troop leader there tonight. So we appreciate you guys being here to lead us with their pledge. So at this time, if you guys want to go ahead and come on up, Pastor Bridges, if you come on up, and we'll have the invocation, and I'll ask you to stand, and then we'll remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray together. Lord, we thank you and praise you for this day that you've blessed us with. We thank you, Lord, for this country, this state and county that we get to call home. Pray, Lord, that you would bless the meeting tonight, every leader, every attendee that's here. Pray that you regard our hearts and our minds tonight. Lord, I pray that every word, everything that we do, everything that we say, everything that we do, Lord, is pleasing in your sight. As we love you, we praise you, and we thank you for all things. And we ask everything. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Guys, come on up.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you guys will just hang right there a minute, we're going to come down and get a picture with you. You may be seated. Thank you very much. All right, this brings us to item number 4 of our agenda tonight, approval of agenda. Gentlemen, tonight we do have a couple amendments to make. First, going to move consent item number 5 over to decision item number 8. We also have a item with time sensitivity we need to consider tonight, consideration of a resolution approving tentative bid award to Brushy Mountain Builders. And then remove presentation item number 3 due to illness. Janie Estrada could not be with us tonight. So, gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion with as amended.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Barry. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 4-0, Madam Clerk. All right, brings us to item number 5, approval of meeting minutes. Gentlemen, tonight we have minutes of the December 15, 2025 regular meeting, January 5th, 2026 pre-agenda meeting, January 20, 2026 regular meeting, and February 2nd, 2026 pre-agenda meetings as prepared and written ahead of time. Unless there's any questions, I'll entertain a motion for those to be approved.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve as the chairman presented.
Thank you, sir. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 4-0. Have a number of presentations tonight. First one tonight comes from the Board of Commissioners, recognition of Drone High School cheer team. And we are very happy to have them with us tonight. We want to recognize Coach Dula and the Drone High School cheerleaders for their state championship victory. We want you guys to come up front, and we want to present an award to you and take a photo as well. Coach Dula, would you like to make any comments tonight about your team here? Is the coach here? You want to say anything to this crowd? Come.
You want friend with the side.
I just want to thank my team for their hard work and dedication this season, and thank my parents for y'all's hard work and dedication as well. Thank y'all.
All right, again, thank you, girls, for being here. Appreciate that. Appreciate your hard work. Item number 2 on presentations comes from Community Development, Friends of Fontainebleau presentation of grant match funds. This will be presented tonight by our planner, trail specialist, Sarah Shabane. Sarah, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, fellow county colleagues, and members of the public. I'm excited to come before you with additional progress on the Canal Bridge Sidewalk Project. This has been a long-term effort to construct a 480-foot pedestrian walkway on the existing deck of Canal Bridge along 126. The crosswalk will connect a planned trailhead at Canal Bridge Boat Ramp and is a vital connection for the Fauna Flora and Over Mountain Victory State Trails, linking 2 parcels within Lake James State Park. As a reminder, beginning in 2021, we started with Pattern & Craig engineering firm to develop the original design, which was approved by NCDOT in 2023. The county was awarded a locally administered project program grant in July 2024. The total grant project is, the total project count is $1.24 million, which includes a 20% local match of $310,000. Our friends at the Fauna Flora State Trail and Over Mountain Victory State Trail stepped forward and committed the match and the full amount for us. So the county has already funded the engineering study and other non-match administrative costs, and NCDOT will serve as the leading agency for the construction and project oversight. Advancing with the grant match will allow NCDOT to begin the next steps required for this project. Tonight, we're joined with our own trail cheerleaders, the Friends of Fauna Flora's Executive Director, Shelley McKechnie, and our Board President, Kenny Green, as they'll present their match contribution of $150,000.
All right, thank you very much. We certainly appreciate the cooperation and the collaboration we've had with Friends of Fontainebleau and all the work on this rail, along with our own folks, along with many other partners that may help make this possible. So we appreciate that, and we're going to come around and we're going to get another picture tonight, okay? move this so we get that check in the picture.
All right, ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3.
We thank the cheerleaders for coming back, because now we've found their trophy. Here they are.
Get this way. Coach, coach, coach. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for bearing with us. Those trophies can be elusive sometimes. All right, this brings us to item number 4, a special proclamation tonight regarding Lyman Appreciation Day. And that's April the 18th, 2026 officially, so that's before our next regular meeting, so we're recognizing those guys tonight. We have several power providers in our community, in our county, town of Drexel, the city of Morganton, Rutherford Electric, as well as Duke Energy. And I know that we have several of those guys in the audience tonight. So I'm going to ask you guys to come forward, if you will. Those of you who are representing any of those groups, come forward. And I want to just make a few comments about the proclamation. You guys come on. City of Morganton, who we got? Town of Drexel, anybody from Drexel tonight? No. Rutherford Electric, I know Dalton's with us, and Duke Energy, they were here for our pre-agenda. Maybe they couldn't make it tonight. So just let me make a few comments here. Lyman play a vital role in assuring the safe, reliable delivery of electricity to homes and businesses and essential services throughout Burke County, as well as the state of North Carolina and our country. Their service is fundamental to the daily lives of our citizens, supporting economic growth, education, health care, public safety, and countless other aspects of modern life. Lyman work under inherently dangerous conditions, just like the ones we're facing today. Thankfully, these guys were able to be here tonight, and they're not out having to work tonight, but tonight's not over, is it, guys? We appreciate that. During hurricanes, severe storms, ice events, other natural disasters that impact Burke County and our region, Lyman work tirelessly, often around the clock, to restore power, stabilize critical infrastructure, and help our community recover with strength and resilience. Lyman dedicate their lives to public service, often with little recognition, despite the extraordinary hazards and sacrifices associated with their profession, not to mention their families that also often give up lots of time with these guys when they'd like for them to be at home. So let's give them a hand. We're going to come around and take another picture. All right, this brings us to item number 5. Comes from Burke Recovery, recognition of 2026. I'm sorry.
Let's approve the proclamation.
Absolutely, thank you very much. We do have a proclamation 2026-02 in reference to the Lineman Appreciation Day, and I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve proclamation declaring April 18th as Lineman Appreciation Day.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 4-0. Thank you. Now we get on to number 5, recognition of 2026 North Carolina One Community in Recovery Adult and Youth Award winners. This will be presented by Tracy Hall with Burke Recovery tonight. Thank you, Tracy, for being here.
Tonight I have the honor of, look, I'm going to drop these, of recognizing 2 wonderful Burke County residents. The 17th annual North Carolina One Community in Recovery Conference is an annual event organized by a dedicated statewide committee of behavioral health providers and advocates, whom many bring personal experiences of recovery from mental health and substance use challenges. The Recovery Champion Award is given to people who have dedicated their individual talents, whether through professional work or volunteering, to successfully promote mental health and/or substance use recovery. These individuals are recognized for promoting recovery-oriented programming, creating system-wide recovery-oriented change, or supporting the recovery process of specific individuals. This year, I'm pleased to announce that Brandy Greer is our Western North Carolina winner. She is the Deputy Director of the Burke County Opioid Response Department in North Carolina, where she leads the implementation, oversight, and evaluation of opioid settlement-funded initiatives aimed at improving outcomes for individuals impacted by substance use. Brandy brings both professional expertise and lived experience to her work. She's in long-term recovery following 15 years of addiction. Her journey in the field of substance use recovery began in 2011 when she became a peer support specialist. She went on to earn her certification as a drug and alcohol counselor in 2019, solidifying her dedication to helping others navigate recovery. Brandy has since held key leadership positions, including Program Coordinator for Burke County's Drug-Free Communities Program and Executive Director of Burke Recovery, a nonprofit treatment center serving our local community. I'm pleased to announce that Brandy is here tonight as our 2026 Western North Carolina Recovering Champion. I'm also pleased to say that she's my friend. So, the Youth and Young Adult Voice Award recognizes and celebrates a youth or a young adult under the age of 26 in North Carolina who has dedicated their individual talents, whether through sharing their story, advocacy, or volunteering, to successfully promote resiliency in mental health and/or substance use recovery. This year's recipient is Emily Hall. Emily is a strong leader among her peers in our county. She advocates for prevention education in our public high schools and our middle schools. She's the first to put others above herself and truly enjoys serving others. Emily was part of our pilot initiative to bring and execute Teen Court in Burke County. She willingly works monthly with Teen Court to progress and bring change among the youth in our county. Emily advocates to help others learn appropriate terminology in substance misuse and mental health conversations. She shows great empathy for those she serves in our community, especially at the Veterans Restoration Quarters, serving unsheltered veterans. Emily works hard mentoring middle school teens with our 4-H substance misuse mentoring program, Empowering Youth and Families program. Her current project is working on placing free alcohol lock caps in both of our county ABC stores. Emily truly uses her trauma of her past to show her peers that what the true definition of resiliency is. So.
Thank you, Brandy and Emily, and we're going to come around and take another picture, and thank you for all the work that you're doing in this area. So much appreciated. All right, this brings us to item number 6, also, or coming from the Board of Commissioners tonight, recognition of Danny Scalise, our local health director, for his service to Burke County. Danny has accepted a position out in Washington State, and we appreciate the work that Danny has done while here in Burke County. He's done a great job for us. Danny, if you'll come forward, we'd like to present you with a walking stick. You might need that up there in Washington State. And we're going to come around and get a picture. I'll give you a moment to make any comments you might like to make, if you like.
I think I'd like to say that, I said this a couple weeks ago in your pre-agenda, it's been the honor of my lifetime. I've had a fantastic team there. Miranda's here with me, and I know a few of them are watching. I've been getting text messages saying that they were. I didn't know what I was getting into when I came here, but I inherited a lot of great people. Amy, who has been my right hand for the last few years, has been impossible to do my job without, and I can't talk about the work ethic, the intelligence, and the character of the people that work with me over at the health department. So I know you guys are going to continue to get good service from them because they're a bunch of hard workers, and they're very, very intelligent, diligent public servants.
Stand up just so you know how I feel. All right, well, we've got one more special presentation tonight, and this is in recognition of the service of our clerk to the board, Madam Clerk. She's over here. And who's going to take the picture this time? We are very pleased to recognize Kay tonight on behalf of her scheduled retirement. She's not quite done with us yet, but she's beginning to wipe her hands. And we appreciate all the work that Kate does for us all the time. She's done a great job since my service on the board, and I know the rest of the board feels likewise. And so tonight we wanted to recognize her. We'll be also having some special time with her on, and I don't have that date right in front of me, 31st of March. That's a Tuesday from 4 to 6. We'll be recognizing Kay Moore at that time and celebrating her time with us. So, Kay, if you'll come down, we're going to get you a walking stick too. And,
For whoever has to do the minutes after me, I'll be brief. Chairman Britton, members of the board, Mr. Epley, and colleagues, thank you for this very kind recognition. It has truly been an honor to serve Burke County and to support the work of this board. I am grateful for the trust you place in me over the years and for the many friendships formed along the way. Burke County is a special community, and I will always be proud to have been a small part of its story. Thank you.
All right, I think the picture taking is over now. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting Kay and all the others that were here tonight to support their friends, family who received recognition. This will bring us on to scheduled public hearings. We have none tonight. The next item, informal public comments. Madam Clerk, do we have any folks signed up tonight?
We do, Mr. Chairman. We have Steve Starnes.
Okay, Mr. Starnes, if you'll come up, state your name and address, please.
I am Steve Starnes. I live at 7299 Road Hills Road, Conley Springs. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, members of the public, thank you for the opportunity for me to speak. I stand before you because I care deeply about the future of Burke County and the responsibility we share to protect our community and our resources and quality of life. Tonight, I'm asking you to take a firm, proactive stance against an unchecked spread of crypto mining data centers in our county. These operations are not traditional industries. They bring massive energy consumption, constant industrial noise, high water usage, and minimal long-term job creation. Across the country, many communities have learned, often too late, that crypto mining facilities extract far more value than they ever return. Crypto mining machines run 24 hours a day, drawing extraordinary amounts of electricity. That strain doesn't just affect the grid. It affects families, small businesses, and taxpayers who ultimately bear the cost of infrastructure upgrades. And the noise generated by thousands of cooling fans is not a minor inconvenience. It is a nonstop, industrial-level roar that can be heard for miles. This is not compatible with the rural character and the peaceful neighborhoods that define Burke County. Another critical issue is water usage, something that many residents don't realize are part of crypto mining operations. These facilities generate enormous heat, and many rely on evaporative cooling systems that consume millions of gallons of water per day in some regions. In smaller operations, they can use hundreds of thousands of gallons daily, especially during the hot months. For counties like ours, where water is essential for families, agriculture, industry, and future growth, this is a serious concern. High demand users strain water systems, increase taxpayers' costs, reduce long-term water security, and we cannot allow speculative industry to jeopardize our resources as fundamental as clean, reliable water. Crypto mining companies operate behind a veil of secrecy. They use shell companies, non-disclosure agreements, and vague project descriptions to avoid public scrutiny. Communities elsewhere have discovered only after the fact who the real operators were, their energy and water demands would be, and how they intend to build to to homes and schools. Burke County deserves better. Ownership, energy usage, water consumption, noise levels, environmental impacts, and long-term intentions. Without transparency, the public cannot make informed decisions, and the board cannot exercise responsible oversight. I'm not here just to raise concern. I'm here to offer solutions, practical steps this board can take to protect our citizens and our infrastructure and our future. To protect our residents, I urge the board to adopt strong, forward-looking zoning standards, create a dedicated zoning classification for high-energy demand data centers, including crypto mining. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one thing. I did provide a handout for you gentlemen to look at that outlines my proposals.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Starnes. Madam Clerk?
Christy Gupton.
Thank you, Chairman Britton and distinguished board. Pardon my attire. I'm usually not dressed like this, but I decided not to skip the gym today like I usually do when I come speak to you, because I thought that would be contrary to my subject matter, which tonight is talking about our musculoskeletal health. So, Mr. Epley, I learned a statistic from you recently about the average age of Burke County citizens, and I am sorry, I don't actually remember that number, but the point is we're not getting any younger, none of us, no matter what the average age is. And it goes without saying that we hope for each other, our fellow Burke County citizens, a long, healthy, strong, and thriving life into our elderly years. Unfortunately, I think that's not possible unless we start to embrace certain types of exercise, and that would be resistance training. So, lifting weights. I think that what I've been researching is learning about the different types of muscle fibers that we have, fast twitch and slow twitch muscle fibers. So those slow twitch muscle fibers help us move our body in one direction or another, but those fast twitch muscle fibers are the ones that are responsible for explosive reaction, right? Being able to catch yourself if you're tripping and you're on your way to the floor, or maybe you're on a set of stairs and you find yourself going too fast down those stairs, or slipping on ice. We had 2 inches of ice in January, didn't we? I don't know how many Burke County citizens didn't fare very well on that ice, but it's those fast twitch muscle fibers that have to be trained, especially as we age, in order to keep that explosive reactionary response to falling. And that's so important as we age. So there's a bunch of people who I talk to who say, oh yes, I exercise, don't worry about me, I walk the dog every day. Unfortunately, I think it's better for the dog than it is for the humans. Walking is a wonderful activity. I love it too. It's good for the mind, definitely good for the heart, but unfortunately, if all we're doing is walking in our 30s, 40s, and 50s, then being able to continue to walk in our 70s, 80s, and 90s is probably not going to be possible without assistance. So that's why we've got to be doing those resistance training exercises. And then there's people who say, I don't want to go to the gym. That's not for me. That's okay too. Our body is a weight. So the payload that you're actually lifting when you do push-ups or sit-ups or lunges or squats or what have you, that's mostly just as good as going to the gym. So I'm almost out of time, but next time I come, I'm going to tell you about how in my 40s, I realized I was not committed enough to the resistance training duty that I had to my musculoskeletal health. And that is when I flattened a kid out on the baseball field. It was unintentional, but it happened nonetheless. So I'll tell you that funny story next time.
In the meantime, I found this awesome website called Muscle and Motion. Now, that QR code worked when I tested it, but then when I printed it, it didn't work. I hope it works for you. If it doesn't, I'll send you a different way to access that website. There's hundreds of videos on this website about, and it shows you the actual mechanical functioning of your musculoskeletal system in different movements. The one video that really rocked my world was the video that shows what happens to your muscles when you sit and slump in a chair in front of a computer for too long. It shortens your muscles. It gives you hip and low back pain and upper back pain. And did you know that among patients who are not already dependent on some sort of pain medication, the number one reason that compels patients to seek an opioid prescription is low back pain. So thank you very much. Good to see you all. Oh, it did work. Great. You will really like that.
Thank you, Ms. Gupta. Madam Clerk.
That's all the cards I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right. With that, I'll close our public comment section, and we'll move on to item number 9, consent agenda. Mr. Manager, if you'll review the consent agenda, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Several items for consideration. Each of these were presented in more detail at your pre-agenda meeting, as you know. So bear with me as I work through this. Item 1 is a proclamation recognizing Social Worker Appreciation Month. Item 2 for consideration is from the Chamber, and this is another proclamation declaring April as Burke Impact Group or Big Challenge Month. Item 3 from our clerk is a request to remove Alan Glines following his retirement as a plat review officer for Burke County. Item 4, also from our clerk, is a request to remove Kathleen Andrews from the Adult Care and Nursing Home Community Advisory Committee. Item 5, also from the clerk, is an appointment, or excuse me, that we've moved that to item for decision. No, that was the Social Services Board's. Item 5, also from the clerk's office, is appointment and reappointment, and there's a series of those from the Recreation Commission. Those are in your packet. Item 6 is an appointment to the Library Board of Trustees from Marty Smith. Item 7 is budget amendment number 15 on the year. This is a request to budget $2,580,000. I would remind you, this is North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, a grant to the Burke County Public Schools system. There is no local match, and that'll be used for HVAC improvements at Freedom High School. Item 8 is a request to budget amendment number 16 on the year, request to budget $14,277. This is in our DSS department for foster care board payments. This is a grant from the state, also in a match. Item 9, budget amendment number 17, also in the Department of Social Services for family reunification, another state grant, $26,760, no local match there. Item number 10 is budget amendment number 18, $5,600. This is from the United States Department of Health and Human Services to our senior center for security awareness and shredding of sensitive documents that may be involved with filing Medicare claims and so forth. And finally, for consideration, item number 11, which is a request to budget $36,550. This is a donation from the Library Foundation that'll help offset cost of providing activities. So, Mr. Chairman, happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any questions on this item? Seeing here none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Stroud. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 4-0, Madam Clerk. This brings us to item 10, items for decision. We have several tonight. First one comes from our clerk, removal and appointments to the Veterans Service Board. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen of the audience. This is a request to remove Curtis Hildebrand from the official roster for the Veterans Service Board and to thank him for his service and to appoint his replacement. And you have 4 applications on file. Ron B., as I'm calling him, Jim Frady, Amber Pewitt, and Dylan Smith. This is for seat number 5 at large to complete the remainder of a 3-year term ending September 30th, 2026.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Gentlemen, you have heard the Clerk's information, we have four possible appointees or four candidates for this one appointment. I would entertain a motion or a nomination for any one of these.
Mr. Chairman, I'll nominate Dylan Smith.
Thank you, Commissioner Barrier. Are there other nominations?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to remove Curtis Hildebrand from the official Veteran Services Board roster and thank you for his service to the community.
All right, thank you. All those in favor of that motion signify by the uplifted hand.
Thank you, Randy.
We have a nomination for Dylan Smith. Do we have another nomination? Seeing here none, I'll close the nominations. All those in favor of Mr. Smith signify by the uplifted hand. 4-0, Madam Clerk. All right. This will move us on to item number 2. Comes from the County Manager, appointment of members to the 2026 Spring Citizens Academy. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very excited and appreciate very much back at your February meeting, opening the application portal to launch our Spring Citizens Academy here in Burke County. Community advancement, public interface, being a participatory government is something that you all have continued to prioritize now really for 2 consecutive years on your strategic plan. As a reminder, we hosted our first Citizens Academy last fall. It was incredibly successful. We had about 18 members complete that 6-week program. We were able to get a tremendous amount of feedback to help us. I would put it into the library of lessons learned, made some minor modifications, and so we're excited to really launch this spring process. The application portal's been open for about a month now, and we have 12 applicants that would ask you to appoint. We'll be prepared to start April the 9th. We were willing to accept up to 20 participants, didn't quite get there, so there may be other folks that apply between now and the start date, and we would certainly love for the board to allow those folks, Mr. Chairman, between now and then you'll have a pre-agenda meeting. We could potentially do additional appointments. We've added an interactive budget exercise that we've developed. That'll be done in week 1, similar to the County Commissioner strategic prioritization process. Really helps, I think, demonstrate some of the competing priorities and interests that you all have considered. We also are going to have some alumni, so folks from our first cohort that are going to come back and be, active in helping us maybe share some perspective, and then leaving folks with some infographics week to week. We also expanded from 1.5 hours to 2 hours, and we're still going to stay on Thursdays, and we moved from 6 weeks to 7 weeks. So with that being said, these are the request to appoint these initial 12 members. Following your action, we'll reach out and notify them, and perhaps there could be some additional folks at your agenda for April. Happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Manager. Any questions on this item? Gentlemen, you do see the list there in front of you, and also would note that number 5 applicant, Micah Banks, actually lives in Catawba County, and so we would need to grant a residency exception for her. So if you are in agreement with that, including the residence exception for Ms. Banks, I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, approve it as presented.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 4-0. Well, this brings us to item number 3, finance, application for public school building repair and renovation, and this will be presented by our manager tonight. Mr. Manager.
Yes, sir. This is a request on behalf of Burke County Public Schools. North Carolina lottery proceeds are annually for all 100 counties in North Carolina put into 2 separate pots. One is a public school building capital fund that you all annually revisit and allow drawdowns. The other is for a repair and renovation fund. This only started a couple of years ago. And again, it's essentially an escrow where dollars are deposited into, and the school system can draw that down on a project by project basis, but it requires an application that's approved by this Board of Commissioners and then signed by the chairman. The project that is being requested at this time is a HVAC control system at Patton High School. It's a $325,000 request. That is less than is what's available in the fund, so there's ample funding there. And we are seeking approval and authorization for the chairman to sign that application so that the school system can draw down those capital funds.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any question on this item? Seeing here none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the Public School Building Repair and Renovation Fund application in the amount of $325,000 and authorize the chairman to execute the application on behalf of the board.
Thank you, Commissioner Barry. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 4-0, Madam Clerk. Item number 4 tonight comes from the Tax Office, Tax Collection Report for period ending February 28, 2026. This will be presented tonight by Ms. Dawn Hutchins, Revenue Collection Supervisor and Deputy Tax Collector. Good evening, Dawn.
Good evening, gentlemen. I don't know which number he usually gives you, but the current taxes year-to-date that we've collected is $56,591,442. Compared to the levy, it's $52,494,551. And then on our delinquencies, we're doing real good. We've collected $605,063, and the motor vehicles was $4,092,764.
Thank you, Dawn. Any questions for Dawn on this item? Being here none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the tax collection report as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 4-0, Madam Clerk. Next item, number 5, also from the Tax Office, Tax Release and Refund Report for period ending February 28, 2026. Go back to Dawn.
The releases and refunds was $10,262.27. We rebilled $2,647.23 of it. They released $7,615.04, and there was no refunds, and we had no VTS refunds over 100.
All right. Thank you, Dawn. Gentlemen, you've heard the information. Any question on this item? Seeing here none, all those, well, I'll take a motion on this item.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the tax release and refund report as presented.
Thank you, Commissioner Stroud. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 4-0, Madam Clerk. Item number 6, also from the Tax Office, order to advertise 2025 delinquent real property taxes, also presented by Ms. Hutchins.
Okay, he didn't give me anything on this, but he's requested, per the statute 105-369, for the board to give him permission to advertise the tax liens for 2025.
All right. Thank you, Dawn. Any question on this item? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the 2025 order to advertise tax liens.
Thank you, Commissioner Berry. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 4-0, Madam Clerk. All right. Thank you, Dawn, for being here. Item number 7 tonight, this is the new item that we added. This will come from our county manager, Chestnut Springs Development, the Memorandum of Understanding. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks for the consideration of the board to add this memorandum of understanding, proposed memorandum of understanding to the agenda. There's a short presentation. Here we go. They tell me to keep going, see what my recall is. But I think the board's familiar with this this proposed project. It's a housing project in the eastern part of Burke County on Miller Bridge Road. We have two brothers that are local to Western North Carolina, both military veterans, that have proposed a housing project. And as you all know, housing shortage, supply and demand continues to be a real item of needed public policy and of concentration effort on your strategic plan. And it's, we always like to start by suggesting the what and the why of how we work and how that's connected to this housing crisis that we're managing with workforce and with economic development. And trying to make sure that we have a community that's sustained and growing. As we talked about at length last Thursday before last at your work session, After completing a 2.5-year asset and inventory analysis on our water sewer program here in Burke County, it came to our attention that there's significant capacity issues with a pump station called Indian Hills, which is a critical resource in the eastern part of Burke County for municipal sewer. It is the pump station that really feeds most of the sewer collection to Hickory for treatment. And at the conclusion of our asset analysis, which as a reminder was funded by a state grant in 2023, and was, is an incredibly helpful tool as we continue to try to grow and develop Burke County and do things in a professional way. That pump station has a limited capacity of about 150, something that would be equivalent to 150 single-family homes. A single-family home on average uses about 5,000 gallons of wastewater per month. So that's just a mathematical way of computing what would be left there. And we know that the cost of that lift station, that pump station, is likely in the $10 million range. We know that the timeline for development, design, permitting would be something like 18 months and another 18 months to build it if we were fully funded today. So as that end of our county continues to be the area where we're seeing the most development and growth, this is really a pinch point where we have to be dynamic in our policy and trying to solve that problem. These folks are two brothers, Travis and Scott, and they've been in the housing market since about 2008. They began planning this development over on 3637 Miller Bridge Road in mid-2025. It'll be a project that is proposed for conditional zoning, which the Board of Commissioners has recently also added to your development codes that allows them to get the appropriate density and the type of housing that they're proposing to use. There's a mixed-use component at the front of the property. They've been out, and I think you all know this, and done some community meetings and really tried to create some engagement with the neighborhoods there. Just as a reminder, here's out 40, and here's the proposed property. It's about 31.6 acres. It's currently zoned a rural mixed use under the Burke County proposal. Ultimately, they envision developing a planned community with about 85 homes. They call these cross-mod homes. There's a development in Knoxville, Tennessee, where they've modeled this similar product. And there's other developers that are also utilizing this type of building structure. But it's an effort to provide more entry-level workforce attainable type homes. So $250,000 to $300,000 is the targeted price point. But there's also some commercial up here on the road frontage to give it that mixed use feel. Here's just some illustrations of what the product looks like. It is a cross between modular and traditional stick-built. And the speed to market is substantial. The quality and the way it appraises is more like a traditional stick-built home. And back in February, after we completed with Willis Engineering this AIA study, and we communicated the significant capacity shortages with the pump station, we began working with them on trying to, again, if it's going to take somewhere between 3 and 5 years to address this issue, we've got to be very strategic with limited capacity. And we had last year, 2025 was the single largest year of single-family home permits in Burke County, 401 up compared to 250 on average prior to that. Most of that development is happening in the eastern part of the county, so it puts additional pressure on it. And we've tried to develop a system now that we can bring proposed projects that add tax base, projects that add housing, projects that really support economic development to this board and allocate that remaining capacity in a very deliberate way. So we proposed with these two developers that they give us a phased approach that doesn't consume more capacity than is needed based on pace in which they can build. And they've done that, and they've proposed between now and the end of the calendar year, starting as early as July, they could have 12 homes ready to go. And then you can see there in 27 and 28. And then we're being cautiously optimistic by the time we get into that 29 year, we're starting to be able to alleviate some of these capacity issues and not be so, not be required to be so strict. I would tell you there are other potential housing developments that are on that side of the county, but they are significantly further behind in their permitting zoning and some of the development standards that we know they'll go through. So we have no guarantee that they'll continue to advance, and they're certainly not as far along as these folks are trying to break ground. So what is being considered, and here's just a proposed timeline that they feel comfortable with, that in July they've got the first 2 homes coming, and then 10 more between now and the end of the year. What's being asked is that this board would consider this phased approach via this memorandum of understanding. I would say this is not a binding contract. This is just a partnership intent that says that we're going to start with this threshold of roughly 150 single-family homes and then allocate to projects based on priority and need, so that we can manage that in a highly communicative and transparent way over the next couple of years. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about this proposed project or about the memorandum of understanding.
Thank you, Mr. Epley. Any questions to Mr. Epley on this item? All right, gentlemen, we've heard this information. We had a good discussion about this during our work session. And so with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve an agreement between Burke County and Scott and Travis Mann, also known as Pisgah Brothers Developments, as presented by the county manager, and as it relates to sanitary sewer capacity for the proposed Chestnut Springs development project on Miller Bridge Road, subject to review and/or revision by our county attorney.
Thank you, Commissioner Berry. All those in favor signify by raising their hand. 4-0, Madam Clerk. That'll bring us to item number 8. Gentlemen, I would ask you to refer to a handout in front of you also about this item. This comes from the clerk, Social Services Advisory Board, removal and appointments. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is a request to remove Keith Bowman's name from the Social Services Advisory Board's official roster and thank him for his service to the community, and then to appoint someone to fill this vacancy. And you have now 2 applications on file, one from Ron B. and the other one from Christian Cothran, to complete a term ending September 30th, 2027 for seat number 5, which is an at-large seat.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. First, I'll entertain a motion to remove Keith Bowman's name from the Social Services Advisory Board's official roster. Thank him for his service.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 4-0, Madam Clerk. Now I'll open the floor for nominations for this open seat.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Ron Blankliffer.
You mean Geronimo?
Geronimo, that's right.
Well, I know him as
Hey,
Ron.
Geronimo.
Yeah, okay. Other nominations? Seeing here none, all those in favor of Mr. Blankliffer indicate by the uplifted hand. 4-0, Madam Clerk. All right. Item number 9, also coming tonight from the county's manager, consideration of resolution approving tentative bid award to Brushy Mountain Builders for $548,750 for sewer master meter project. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Staying in the context of water and sewer, again, something we talked at length about at your work session was the amount of unaccounted for wastewater that we are paying for with the city of Hickory that isn't necessarily a system in place to fully reconcile, to include I&I and all of those things. So as you all know, we have a $1.1 million grant that's replacing about 2,500 water meters, but it's also paying to install 5 bulk sewer flow meters and some pretty strategic points where other municipal systems come into our system so we can have more accurate readings and measure some of those I&I costs. The grant is through DEQ, it's Clean Water Trust funding, and so we have been requested from DEQ for a simple resolution following the bidding process that's now complete from this board that would resolve that Brushy Mountain is the low bidder, $548,750. I would point out that's below the remaining grant. There is no match, so no local dollars are involved with this. And then we would ask that the board authorize the manager's office and the county attorney to finalize the contract with Brushy Mountain.
All right, thank you, Mr. Manager. Any question on this item? All right, gentlemen, you do have the resolution in front of you as handout form. Any further question on this item or any question on this item? Seeing here none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt resolution number 2026-08.
Mr. Chairman, so move.
Thank you, Mr. Stroud. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 4-0, Madam Clerk.
Do I need a motion to further authorize?
It was in the resolution. Oh, yeah, I think it's okay.
All right, now we come to item 11, reports and comments. First, the report we have tonight comes from our county manager, presentation of the fiscal year 25-26 mid-year report. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief, but I did want to take a moment and provide a somewhat of a comprehensive update on how we're performing in our current fiscal year. I think this is a good tool as we launch our upcoming 26-27 budget to really reflect on how our current 25-26 fiscal year budget is performing. Gives confidence in our revenue projections as well as some of the re-engineering strategies that we have tried to implement over the last couple of years, and I think helps set the tone for what we will try to accomplish following your work session and strategic planning meeting that you all had back on March the 2nd. So the first thing that I would say here as we dive in is that when I look at total general fund, total revenue, total expense over the last three budgets, we continue to perform strong. The blue bar here is total revenue in the general fund. The orange is total expense. So just when you zoom out to really 30,000 foot level and look at all consolidated revenue and expense, we continue to operate with a strong surplus. That will more right size over the second half of the year. I would remind you that revenue is front end loaded. 53% of our total revenue is property tax, which is heavily collected in the first couple of months of the year. Expense, which is primarily payroll, is consistently flat. So even though that looks like a substantial surplus at 12/31 halfway through the year, that will more closely align by the end of the fiscal year. But we do expect to operate with positive cash flow this year in the general fund and add to our unassigned fund balance to maintain that percentage of above 25%, which you all have adopted. One other thing that I'd point out, this green line is a measure of our expense ratio. So that's taking the total expense. In the for-profit world, you may hear it called an operating ratio, but it's looking at your expenditures as a percentage of your total revenue, and that's a good efficiency measure to really equate how cost effective you're able to operate, and something we're very proud of. We've been able to push that efficiency ratio down for 3 years in a row. Diving in, and our slides are a bit out of order here, but I'll try to make the best sense of them as I can. We really have we're operating in a strong period. There's some things that are really performing well and that are reasons to be what I would say is optimistic. There are other things, much of which are out of our control, that we have to figure out how to navigate the storm. There's things that we're responsible for that we don't necessarily fully control, that we've got to kind of figure out how to mediate and how to work through. One thing that is very positive is we've seen about a 3.5% growth in property tax revenue. One of the big drivers in the total increase in property tax revenue is motor vehicle revenue. So we haven't had, in the 25-26 year compared to previous year, we haven't seen 3.5% growth in real property growth. But when you consider other components like motor vehicles, we have seen a strong rebound. You can see it following 2 years of a pretty substantial decline. This was on the heels of COVID when supply chain was limited and factories were shut down, and that drove up primarily used car vehicles. This is more of a product, this rebound this year is more of a product of sales. Similarly, this is Article 39 sales tax, which is a point of sale sales tax article. It's our largest, it's the first 1 cent of the 6.75 cent sales tax here in Burke County. It's collected by local retailers, local merchants, and we've seen about a 7.5% gain over prior year. So seeing strong consumer spending there. Article 40 and 42 are more of a measure statewide. So not at 7%, but still growing at a strong clip. Investment income, something that we always like to point out, 2022, before we put some pretty aggressive cash investment strategies in place here, the county collected $63,000 in total investment income of idle cash. Over the last couple of years, that's been over $2 million. Through 12/31, we're still projecting that's going to be a tick over two. There's an expected decrease. We have less cash on hand. When you think of some of the capital projects with EMS, Animal Services, Courthouse that we've been able to fund with grant dollars, but still cash flow, there's less cash on hand to invest. And we're also seeing the feds drop rates, so that's impacting our investment portfolio, but still a healthy number. I would remind you that a cent on our tax rate is a little over $1 million, so $2 million investment income revenue source is the equivalent to a 2-cent property tax component. This was supposed to be the first slide, but here I'm just trying to point out that we have a very systematic approach to communication and financial management. And this mid-year report is a really good way to, again, measure how our current budget is performing and you know, how we forecast really the last components between now and June 30th. I said this earlier, but I'll dive into it just a little bit more. Some of our, what I would consider macroeconomic indicators in Burke County are strong. We've seen the single highest number of permitting in recent Burke County history. Plat reviews are through the roof. Sales tax is growing. Unemployment is low. So there's a lot of reasons to be very, very, very optimistic. Median income is increasing. We've got strong and stable budget actual performance, so our departments are managing their budgets. Last year, we were able to do a modest half-cent tax rate reduction, and that, as you all recall, if you exclude personnel and capital, our operational budgets actually were down about 1% across all 28 departments, and our folks are operating within those means. Trying to be sensitive, as we talked about last year when we drafted the budget that we're currently executing, coming off the heels of Hurricane Helene and property damage and many of the things. Our point was that county government is not immune from those things, and we tried to really facilitate a budget that was reflective of what the community was managing, and our department heads are continuing to execute that. We've seen substantial reengineering strategies implemented. That's solid waste transport, that's in-house EMS billing, that's personnel management and position justification. And those efficiency improvements as well as reengineering strategies are paying dividends. So those are all really good things. We're also seeing some pretty dynamic and drastic call pressures. Risk management, if anyone here has renewed your own homeowner's insurance policy or liability, general liability insurance policy, workers' comp if you're a business owner, some of the, even with strong claims data, and I think we have had strong claims data here with very low losses, we try to manage those intentionally. When insurance companies are losing money for other natural disasters and other things across the country, that puts pressure on your rate and renewal, and we're experiencing that double-digit increases every year, and that's something that we can try to be good stewards of our claims. But those renewals are still costing additional dollars, and we don't have a tremendous amount of impact on that. Medicaid hold harmless, I have some slides on that, but Medicaid hold harmless, in 2011, there was a state sales tax repealed, Article 44, and the state pulled that back to help pay Medicaid claims on a county-by-county basis, and we talked about this a couple of years ago, that Burke County lost $1.6 million in the 24-25 budget. $100 million were lost by counties across the state, and that was because of an explosion in Medicaid claims cost. From 24-25 to 25-26, Burke County, the state paid Medicaid claims for Burke County went up 22%, $10.1 million to $12.3. And this year, they were just released actually last Thursday. Burke County is now getting zero. So we've lost over $2 million in recurring revenue in the last 2 years for Medicaid hold harmless. And the algorithm there between Department of Health and Human Services and DOR is measuring this repealed sales tax compared to state-paid health claims in your county, and that's not unique to Burke County. I think 60 counties now receive zero, and 2 years ago they were receiving substantiality, and so that's something that's out of our control. HR1, we talked about HR1 at your budget work session. But food and nutrition, administrative reimbursement going from 50% to 25% beginning in October 2026. That's going to cost us an immediate $500,000, growing to $650,000 in year 2. Medical inflation and wellness, again, we can have strong performance measures inside of our self-funded, self-insured employee wellness fund, but medical inflation is trending at 10 or 11%, and that's what we're seeing too. So 10 or 11% on a $9 million wellness fund is significant. And then lastly, for the 4th or 5th straight year in a row, the State Treasurer's Office is increasing retirement contributions by 1%. 1% on a $40 million payroll is about $400,000. So if it wasn't for strong local economic policy, and if it wasn't for strong budget to actual management, if it wasn't for strong policy on trying to re-engineer costs and be more efficient, we would be in a really difficult spot. But we're performing well. There's the first slide that we looked at again. So revenues are up about 6.7%, as I mentioned. Expenses up about 5.2%. A big part of that is growth in motor vehicles and our sales tax indicators, as well as investment income. We've also seen a strong investment into the development community, which we've talked about, on-site permits, food and lodging inspections, all good indicators. Both our water sewer fund, as well as our solid waste fund, both continue to perform much better and enhance without any pressure on the local property tax rate. Solid waste fund is expecting to see a little bit of a decline this year. Most of that is because of brush from Hurricane Helene. There was an extraordinary revenue item of about $1.5 million last year. So $1 million and 1.2 is sufficient. That's about a target area for a fund and an operational capacity of our size to make sure that we're putting away appropriate deferred deferred maintenance costs and paying for our post-closure costs and some of those things. So feel really good about that. Here's the Medicaid hold harmless analytic that I was showing. So this blue line is that the repealed sales tax. This blue line is Medicaid claims in Burke County that's grown. You can see 8.7 in 2023, 12.7, 33% increase in four years. Just from 24, 25, 26, another 22.5% increase. And so this is our revenue. You can see that we've tricking up, and then for the last three, and next year is anticipated to be zero. So we're going to lose the remainder of this Medicaid hold harmless revenue source. I mentioned our employee wellness fund. Last year, with some formulary redesign, we were able to reduce costs by about $50,000 a month. That was primarily pulling GLP-1s out. That saved us about $1 million, but there were some other modifications. This year, we've got about 15 high-cost claimants that are accounting for about 30% of our total plan cost, and just bad stuff, oncology and things that are just really bad luck. But the cost of managing some of those is tremendous, and so certainly we're praying for the folks that are going through it. But from an economic perspective, it is significant and tough to manage. I mentioned risk management. Again, just looking over the last couple of years. Increasing cost and treasury contribution costs. This would be that retirement component. So certainly, I know that we delivered the report to you at your pre-agenda meeting 2 weeks ago. I'm sure you've all had a chance to review it, and I'm happy to answer any questions. But I think Burke County's in a great position. I think that we are managing some of the things that are dealt our way the best way that we can. I'm thankful for the support this board has given us to give us the ability to do that without having to be so knee-jerk and reactionary to some of these environmental conditions. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you, Brian. Thank you for a good job on the report. Gentlemen, we have had this report for review. Any questions?
Any word from FEMA on the $11 million?
I've been told that it's approved. We haven't got a deposit yet, but the secretary signed it on her final day, is my understanding. As well as the outside of the public assistance side, my understanding for the 13, there's only 13. We started with 18. There's only 13 families that stuck on the home acquisition side. That too has been approved. I think it's at the state emergency management level, but fully obligated, and so we're just waiting on that deposit. Yes, sir.
Other questions?
Yeah, I've got one just real quick, Brian. I'm just really amazed at how the team has really taken us. We had so many losses this year from so many different, funds that were not going to be there moving forward in the future, and y'all have just that social engineering in the county you've done has just been amazing to me, just how you've been able to, that we've been able to stay buoyant and float through all this stuff. And moving forward, there's different ways that we can generate monies for those kind of things that I think we need to address too in the future. So I'm excited about that. I think we need to work on those things so we're not losing any money and we're making some money.
Other questions, comments? All right, seeing here none, gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adopt resolution number 2026-08. Oh, sorry. Make a motion to accept as presented.
Thank you, sir.
Well, mine went to the wrong line.
All right, all those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 4-0, Madam Clerk. All right, this brings us to item number 2 from the Board of Commissioners, reports and comments. Gentlemen, I would have just a couple courtesy reminders. March the 27th, Animal Resource Center ribbon cutting at 2 o'clock, and also at that same time from 2 to 5 is Spring Williamsburg Retirement Party at, that'll occur at the Burke County Agricultural Building. Then on March the 30th, our pre-agenda meeting at 2 p.m. Our special meeting at 2 p.m. on March 30th. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Then on March 31st, again, to mention Madam Clerk's retirement reception at the Community House from 4 to 6 in Morganton. And so with that, Madam Clerk, I'm going to go to item 12, vacancy announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We have the following opportunities for citizens to be involved in county boards and committees: the Adult Care Nursing Home Community Advisory Committee, Burke County Public Health Advisory Board, Hickory Regional Planning Commission, Drexel Planning Board, ETJ members and an alternate, Partners Health Management's Human Rights Committee, Council on Aging, Local Emergency Planning Committee, and the Burke Senior Center Advisory Council.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. And with that, just before we go to our next item, any comments from commissioners tonight? And Mr. Attorney, any comment on your side?
I'd just like to remind everybody, American 250, I always like to remind us of that. It's exciting times. We could be in the ditches right now fighting one another, but we in this nice place we're at now in America.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Burns.
I'd just like to add that anytime you consider your friends, the mark of a good friend is somebody who's willing to tell you the truth, whether you want to hear it or not. And I just want to say thank you to Madam Clerk for always being that true friend that's always willing to say you're not thinking right or your procedure is flawed. And you will be sorely missed by me.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Mr. Burns. Since Mr. Manager's back, any comments from you, Mr. Manager?
Yeah, I too would, just a brief acknowledgement to the professionalism and hard work that I've experienced since I've been here from Kay. She has been tremendous. Her institutional knowledge, her commitment to this team and to this organization and this board is absolutely top shelf. And I don't have enough good things to say, but we're going to miss you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Mr. Barry.
And I'll echo that, Kay. It's been a quick year, and I've said this before, that I know there's got to be days that are highly frustrating, but I've never seen that. You've always been kind and professional and cheery, and I don't know what happens when you go home, but here you've always been great, and I want to thank you for that. And one other thing I'll just mention, I'm on the Child Fatality Prevention team, and we recently finished our intensive review mandated by the state of North Carolina. And I'll just mention, and I'll continue to mention it as we get closer to that, we're going to do a community event for awareness. We reviewed 2 cases that were young people who took their own lives, and it's very difficult to talk about that, but we just need more awareness in our community. But I'll give you more information as we get closer.
Thank you, Mr. Barry. Madam Clerk, any comments tonight?
just wanted to thank you all for the very kind words. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve this board and prior boards, and I totally am on board with all the projects and all the directions that you're heading in, and I wish you well.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk, and I know I can echo again all these sentiments from the board. We appreciate so much what you do and have done for us in a very exemplary manner. We look forward to celebrating with you in just a few more days, so we'll look forward to that. So with that tonight, we do have a need for a closed session, and I'm going to invite our HR director to be with us tonight in closed session. Gentlemen, I'll make the motion to go into closed session to prevent the disclosure of information that is privileged or confidential, to discuss threatened or pending litigation, to preserve the attorney-client privilege, to discuss economic development matters, to discuss contractual matters, land acquisition, and to discuss personnel matters as authorized by NCGS 143-318-11A 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And if you're in favor of that motion, please indicate by the uplifted hand. 4-0, Madam Clerk. All right, thank you very much. We'll take just a couple minutes, and then we'll reconvene in closed session.
I'm going to go through closed session.
All right, we'll consider ourselves seated back in the open session, and I'll report that a proper motion was made to come out of closed session and no action was taken in closed session. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Stroud. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 4-0. We stand adjourned. Thank you very much.